Hello there you guys, welcome to one of my videos. Jessie Lingard's Man United future is in doubt after talks over a new contract collapsed. So, reflecting on that, Lingard will be leaving Manchester United next year. He said Lingard could leave for just £10 million. His current contract at Man United expires next summer. Lingard's only made one start this season, and that was the game against West Ham in the EFL Cup. Lingard has been part of the club for a long time. He risen up our academy and that. He's had his good periods at Man United, he's also had his bad periods. Earlier on this season, Solskjaer did mention that he wants Lingard to stay at Man United. At the second half of last season, Lingard endured a 4-month loan spell with West Ham and he made an impact. West Ham tried to get him in this year's summer transfer window, but they were struggling to meet Man United's £25 million asking price. Now, I want to give you some more news on Brendan Rodgers. Brendan Rodgers distances himself from the Man United job. He said he's proud to be at Leicester. And he said the reports linking him with Man United are not true. Yesterday, he said Brendan Rodgers was ready to say yes to Man United if he was offered the job. Brendan Rodgers has been house hunting in Cheshire. Brendan Rodgers is the favourite to replace Ole Gunnar Solskjaer at Manchester United. The Manchester Evening News said the other week that Man United are ready to trigger Brendan Rodgers' contract clause if Solskjaer gets sacked, and earlier on in the season it said Brendan Rodgers had already verbally agreed to become Man United's new manager. Would you take Brendan Rodgers at Manchester United? If he came in, would he get us back to that level where we should be at? Would he suit the strappings of the club? Would he get the best out of these group of players? Well, one thing's for sure, Brendan Rodgers is a far superior manager to Solskjaer. You've got to admire what he's done at Leicester so far. At Leicester, he's won the Community Shield and the FA Cup. He's been in charge of Leicester for almost 3 years. He's got a contract with them until 2025. The news on Zinedine Zidane. Zidane is not available until the summer. Because recently the Man United board had talks with Zidane. Zidane let the board know that he doesn't feel ready for the Premier League at the moment and prefers to take a break until the summer. But reports have said that Zinedine Zidane, is interested in the Manchester United job, but there's a problem. Zidane's wife is not attracted to the idea of living in Manchester. Zidane's close relationships with Ronaldo and Varane could persuade him to join Man United. talks have been ongoing between Man United and Zidane, but it actually said that Zidane's preference is to coach the French team. Ronaldo wants Zidane at Manchester United. He's already made that clear. Zidane is available. He left Real Madrid in the summer. You've got to admire what he did at Real Madrid. He won a lot of trophies when he was at Real Madrid. So reflecting on that, he's got a good pedigree behind him. Zidane has not yet managed in the Premier League, so like I've already mentioned, it'd be good for him to come and experience the Premier League. But I reckon Zidane would be the man for Man United, and Zidane is certainly my preference over Brendan Rodgers. Now, I'll give you some more news on Ole Gunnar Solskjaer earlier on. Manchester United decide to sack Solskjaer. But Solskjaer could remain in charge until the end of the season. Solskjaer is refusing to quit Man United, despite senior stars losing faith in tactics. And Solskjaer said he's sure he can turn around Man United's fortunes. Earlier on this week, Solskjaer returned to the Carrington training ground, because last week he was away in Norway. Solskjaer granted his players a week off. Did say earlier on this week that there's 8 Man United stars that feel misled by Solskjaer with the broken promises he made to them during the summer. And last weekend, it said that our senior stars want Solskjaer sacked. That was stemming from Duncan Castles. Now, when Man United do sack Solskjaer, they'll have to pay Solskjaer around $7.5 million, because in the summer he signed a new 3-year contract with an option of a further year. Solskjaer should have been sacked after the 5-0 defeat to Liverpool. If we'd have sacked him after the 5-0 defeat to Liverpool, I can assure that Manchester United would have got Antonio Conte. And it said after the 5-0 defeat to Liverpool that Solskjaer had been given 3 games to save his job, and he only won 1 of them 3 games. Manchester United are in terrible form. Man United have had back-to-back home defeats to Man City and Liverpool, and Man United have only won 1 of their last 6 Premier League games, and we're currently sitting 6th in the league at the moment. Reflecting on our poor performances, Solskjaer's partly to blame, because his tactics and his team selections have been questioned a lot, but you can't just put all of the blame on Solskjaer. There's also players that have to take responsibility for those poor performances. I'm surprised Solskjaer's lasted as long as he has done. But the reason he's lasted as long as this is because he's a club legend. Disregarding him being a club legend, I can assure he would have been sacked a while ago. Solskjaer's been in charge of Manchester United for almost 3 years. Solskjaer is not capable of winning trophies as Man United manager, and he's not won a trophy as Man United manager. We haven't won anything since 2017. The expectations are far too high for Solskjaer to exceed as Man United manager. Solskjaer certainly lowered the standards at the club as manager, and he is in a position that he shouldn't be in. I hate to say this regarding Ollie, but I'm just being realistic. I said a while ago, though, that Solskjaer is not the long-term manager for Man United. Solskjaer has no proven pedigree behind him as a manager. To be fair though, he had a proven pedigree as a player because Solskjaer won a lot of trophies as a player for Man United. And obviously we all adore Solskjaer, reflecting on what he did as a player. Manchester United enjoyed a very good summer transfer window this year, made 4 signings. 3 of the 4 signings were made were major signings. We spent 141 million. The board backed Solskjaer well in the summer transfer window, and they still continue to back him now. The Glazers are backing him, Ed Woodward's backing him, John Murtaugh, our director of football's backed him, and Darren Fletcher has backed him. And Man United have got a very good squad. It is a title winning squad, so Man United should be really winning the Premier League this season, or at least competing for the league. We haven't won the Premier League since 2013, and Solskjaer did say at the start of this season that his ambition was to win the Premier League. The reason we're not getting the best out of a lot of the players is because we're a team of individuals, like a lot of pundits have spoke about. We don't actually play as a team. That's why we're not in a good position. You've got the likes of City, Liverpool and Chelsea that all play as a team, and that explains why they're in a much better position than Manchester United at the moment. But Solskjaer ran out of excuses a while ago. At this moment in time, the club from top to bottom is in a predicament, and obviously the way to get out of this predicament is a change of manager, and structural changes are also needed at the club. When Solskjaer does get sacked, he will be the 4th permanent manager to be sacked since Ferguson, because Man United have already sacked 3 managers since Ferguson. We sacked David Moyes, sacked Louis van Gaal and sacked Jose Mourinho, and Man United are not even really known as a sacking football club. But Manchester United have not been the same team since Ferguson retired. And no one's going to replicate what Ferguson did. Ferguson brought success to Manchester United. He won 30 odd trophies, including 13 Premier League titles. But he didn't settle in straight away because he didn't win out in his first 4 years at Man United. Alex Ferguson endured 27 years at Man United, so he was a very long-serving manager. Before Ferguson we weren't that good. We weren't that good under Ron Atkinson, we weren't good under Wilf McGuinness, and we certainly weren't good under Franco Farrell. We got relegated under Franco Farrell back in 1974. That's 40 odd years ago now, and we weren't that good under Sir Matt Busby. I think we started off well though under Sir Matt Busby. But Solskjaer he knew when he taken over at Manchester United that it was going to be a massive job. Not only a massive job, a difficult job as well. You know, Ole is managing one of the biggest clubs in the world. You know, Solskjaer knew when he'd taken over at Man United, he had a lot to do. You know, Solskjaer got appointed in December 2018. He's been permanent Man United manager since March 2019. When Solskjaer got appointed in, he was inheriting a lot of deadwood. He's got rid of a lot of the deadwood, but he's still now inheriting players from who other managers brought in. Obviously, there's only Jones and De Gea from the Ferguson era. Obviously, there's still Mata here from the David Moyes era. There's only a few players here now from the Louis van Gaal era. Got rid of a lot of players who were brought in under Van Gaal. And he's still inheriting quite a few players here from the Jose Mourinho era. Manchester United have spent over £400 million under the Solskjaer era, and like I've said, Solskjaer's enjoyed like 5 transfer windows as permanent Man United manager. Solskjaer signed 14 players. You know, in the summer of 2019, he brought Daniel James, Wan-Bissaka and Harry Maguire in. In January 2020, he brought Bruno Fernandes in and Odi Nagalo in on loan. And in the summer of 2020, he brought Edison Cavani in, Donny van de Beek, Alex Telles, Amad Diallo and Facundo Pellistri. And in this year's summer transfer window, brought Heaton in, Sancho, Varane and re-signed Cristiano Ronaldo after 12 years. Ollie's also got rid of a lot of players since he's come in, like I've said. You know, he loaned quite a few players out in this year's summer transfer window. He loaned Brandon Williams out, Ethan Laird, Andres Pereira, Axel Tuanzebe, Tahith Chon and Facundo Pellistri. You know, the players he's got rid of permanently. Obviously sold Daniel James in this year's summer transfer window. He was the only player Man United actually sold in this year's summer transfer window, so that was disappointing from a Man United perspective. Ollie's got rid of a lot of other players. You know, he offloaded James Wilson and Borthwick Jackson. He also released Romero and Joe Pereira. He offloaded Igalo, Foster-Mensah and Rojo. That was back in January. He's offloaded players like Yum, Valencia, Smalling, Darmian. Offloaded Fellaini back in January 2019. He offloaded Angel Gomez, Herrera, Lukaku and Sanchez. So there you go. And you can say that some progress has been made under Solskjaer as well, because, you know, in his first full season he got us to 3 semi-finals, and last season, which was his second full season, he got us to the EFL Cup semi-final, the quarter-finals of the FA Cup, and he got us to the Europa League final, and that was his first major final as Man United manager. But unfortunately, we didn't win it. We lost to Villarreal 11-10 on penalties. So there you go, and last season Ollie got us a second place finish, and in his first full season he got us a third place finish. And I also like the way Solskjaer has developed the youth since he's come in. Manchester United are going to offload quite a lot of players next year. You know, I think Martial's going next year. I think Cavani will be leaving next year. I think Mata's leaving next year. Van der Beek is leaving in January. The player himself has confirmed that. Like I said, looks like Lingard's leaving. Matic, I think he's also leaving next year. I think there's a good chance that Pogba will leave next year, because it said not so long ago that Man United are prepared to sell Paul Pogba in the January transfer window. Well, it makes sense to cash in for Pogba in January rather than let him go on a free next summer. Well, Pogba may never play for Man United again anyway, because he's out for around 2 months, because the other week Pogba suffered a thigh injury in France training. And Pogba's still got 1 game to serve in the league out of the 3-match ban he got, because Pogba got sent off in the 5-0 defeat to Liverpool. Pogba though did enjoy a good start to the Premier League season. He got 7 assists and he produced good performances for Man United in the last couple of months of last season. But I do think Pogba's a good player and he's an imperative player to go with it, so I actually want him to stay at Man United. Last week, like I updated you, reports from France said that Pogba wants to renew his contract with Man United, but reportedly on 1 condition, that he's made the Premier League's highest paid player. At the moment, Pogba receives around 290 grand a week on his current contract, and his current contract expires next summer. Before the start of this season, he rejected a new Man United contract offer. Tellez, I think he's another one that's going next year. I think Jones, Bailly going next year. I think Delot's going next year. And I think Dean Henderson will go out on loan, because obviously Dean Henderson doesn't get his opportunities now because De Gea reclaimed that number 1 spot back. You know, there's inconsistent players at Manchester United. You know, you've obviously got Luke Shaw and Maguire that have been very inconsistent this season, but still overall are decent players. You know, Maguire's a decent centre-half when he wants to be, and Luke Shaw's a good left-back when he wants to be. You know, Luke Shaw was superb last season. You know, you've got Lindelof, he's inconsistent. He's not good enough to represent the club. You know, you've also got Matic, you know, he's inconsistent. And I've always had my reservations about Matic because he's always been a static midfielder. But there again, he has had his good games at Man United. He's not one of our first choice midfielders, but despite that, he gets his chances. You know, Fred and McTominay, that duo are inconsistent as well. Fred and McTominay play a lot of games together, and a lot of United fans have had a go at Solskjaer for him persistently selecting Fred and McTominay in the centre midfield. You know, like I said, Lingard, he's inconsistent as well, but doesn't really get in the team. And Martial, he's another one that's inconsistent, but he doesn't really get in the team. On my next video, guys, I will be giving you my predicted 11 for Man United's game against Watford. So anyway, guys, that's everything to update you with. Drop your comments, likes below on the channel. If you do, consider subscribe as always, and take care. God bless. See you all again very, very soon.